So the various methods for um, repairing these tanks, as we've talked about, are the polymers and rivets and self-tapping screws. And there's even more temporary methods, as Mike mentioned earlier. Golf tees, putting screws in the holes with rubber washers on them. Pounding a dowel into the hole. There's a lot of different techniques that are very, very temporary. The longer term repairs are taking the tank out of service, of course, draining it, degassing it, and then welding the repairs on it, which is obviously from a cost point of view and time point of view, lost production on the time point of view. It's which leads, of course, to elevated costs. It's it's not desirable. However, welding is a far longer lasting and superior technique. However, there are issues with welding. You still need a hot work permit. We've actually performed work for customers who could not get a hot work permit even when the tank was out of service. So some of our work is not all while the tank's in service. It's really where you cannot get a hot work permit to perform a welding for the repair. There was a tank in Louisiana that was cleaned and degassed, but they were still picking up traces of benzene, and so they were unable to get a hot work permit to weld on this tank roof. Tank roof was landed on its legs, and it was out of service. It had been blasted and primed, but they were not able to weld about 41 thinned areas and through holes. They were going to put lap plates on it, but they couldn't get that hot work permit. So we came in and we put 41 of our forge bonded repair plates on each one of those leak points and thinned areas and had them back up and running. That took us about 3 weeks, 2 technicians working 3 weeks. And it was that's the most repair plates we've ever put down in a single pass on a tank. But it was out of service during a scheduled outage. We've also performed work with brand new tanks, several of them actually. You'd be surprised. The tank passes the hydro test, and they find no leak points with water in the tank. They drain it and they fill it with crude oil, and there's a leak they find. And so we'll come out. It's a brand new tank. It's got a minimum of 20 years before the next outage. So we'll come in and put a repair plate on it and get them that 20 years that they need before they have to take that tank out of service, and do it at a far lower cost than if they had to take it out of service, drain it, degas it, and then weld that repair.